everyone. Welcome. My name is Pam Ricker de la Rosa. I work here in the City of Milwaukee Environmental Collaboration Office, and I'm kind of leading up this benchmarking program for the city. I'm happy to see some familiar face or names on here from the help desk and outside of that. Um, I think we're just going to we had about 14 people register. So I think we're just going to give people a couple more minutes to join before we go ahead and get started. So maybe we'll wait till like 3:04 or 3:05. Okay, thank you. Okay, great. Thanks. Since we're at 3:05 and we have a lot to cover, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks so much for registering and being here. Again, my name is Pam Ricker de la Rosa. I'm Environmental Sustainability Program Manager here at the City of Milwaukee's Environmental Collaboration Office, and I'm leading this benchmarking program here at the city along with our great consultants at Clearly Energy. We have Claire Rabbit and Jenna McIlrath who are with us today, and will be presenting some more of the information and kind of their consulting services that go along with this program. So I wanted to start with just some background on this program and ordinance and how that got developed and adopted here in the city of Milwaukee. Okay, looks like it's sharing. So I will go ahead and get started. Again, there's our beautiful skyline here in the city of Milwaukee. So today we're talking about the Milwaukee Efficient Buildings Benchmarking Program, annual tracking and reporting of energy use in large commercial buildings and government buildings. Okay. And so I just wanted to start with this term of benchmarking. I know it is kind of a wonky term, but it essentially is a process of, again, kind of looking up and reporting your energy use in your building on an annual basis. Um, and here in Milwaukee, that is done looking at We Energy's utility bills, and then kind of tracking that information in the free Energy Star Portfolio Manager tool. ESPM is a valuable tool to track energy and spending on energy use over time, compare the energy use in your building to in your building or buildings to other buildings. And then also, I found it as a helpful tool to identify errors in utility bills. I actually track the energy use in all of the 102 city buildings, and I have found errors using this tool and the graphs that it provides. So that is kind of like an added benefit of looking at your energy use through this tool. Overall studies show that commercial buildings that benchmark use about 2.4% less energy each year, or 7.2% over 3 years. However, there are many cities that have adopted these policies where building owners report, or it's shown that they use 10 to 14% less energy due to these benchmarking policies. And because of the cost savings that are provided, there are many buildings in Milwaukee that already benchmark their energy use prior to this ordinance coming into effect. So if we take kind of a step back, looking at buildings and their kind of the greenhouse gas emissions that they emit into our atmosphere, buildings make up a majority of cities' greenhouse gas emissions. Um, this is a pie chart of the greenhouse gas emissions inventory that was conducted for the community for the city of Milwaukee in 2018. And based on this inventory, about 76% of community greenhouse gas emissions came from the building sector. And overall, about a quarter, 25.5% of emissions came specifically from commercial buildings. And this is similar to other American cities. That's why, really nationwide, and, beyond the US and Canada and a lot of other places, there's really been a focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions from large buildings, because this has also the added benefit of saving building owners a significant amount in energy costs when you can identify, savings, ways to make your building more efficient, and then realize those savings over time. And this really kind of, we started to talk about this through development of the city of Milwaukee's climate and equity plan, which was, overall like a 4-year process between the city and county and a number of different experts that came together in energy efficiency to kind of look at what best policies would be to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions in our community. And the benchmarking ordinance was really kind of one of those policies or ideas that rose to the top quickly. This policy was recommended in the Green Buildings Work Group and was adopted as one of the big ideas in the city's climate and equity plan to help achieve 45% emissions reductions by 2030 and then achieve net zero emissions by 2050 while also creating hundreds, if not thousands, of green jobs here in Milwaukee. The benchmarking ordinance itself was developed in early 2024. Community feedback was sought in the spring of 2024, and then the policy was adopted by the Common Council in early July 2024, so just about a year ago. And overall, this is kind of just to give an idea of why there is this focus on large buildings. This column to the left here kind of shows the total number of buildings in the city of Milwaukee. So overall, about 76% of our buildings are kind of smaller. They're less than 15,000 square feet. And that makes sense. That's a lot of homes and, small multifamily, small commercial buildings. But if we're talking about in terms of kind of the built square footage, most of that is actually in our large buildings. So looking at the column here to the right, we see that about 49% of the build square footage in the city of Milwaukee is in buildings that are 100,000 square feet and bigger. If we, drop down to include buildings that are 75,000 square feet and bigger, we get another 7%, and going down to 50, we get another 9%. So overall, through this policy, and having this apply, right now to large buildings, 50,000 square feet and bigger, we are kind of tracking or benchmarking about 65% of all the square footage of buildings in the city of Milwaukee. And a lot of times you can think of square footage as kind of, comparable to greenhouse gas emissions. And when this policy was adopted last year, the city of Milwaukee joined, I think we were around the 50th jurisdiction to adopt this type of ordinance. So this is by no means it's new to Milwaukee, but it's definitely not new to around the country. And there are several different jurisdictions here in the Midwest that have adopted these policies. I believe Chicago's policy has been in place for more than 10 years. Minneapolis, Twin Cities area, similarly around 10 years. So we kind of joined this group of cities that are really kind of focusing on, benchmarking and looking at how we can reduce emissions from those large buildings. And so I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of a preview to kind of some of the steps to complete this process. I'll just kind of show you the Energy Star Portfolio Manager and where you would put your information in there. Claire is going to jump in later and kind of go through sharing your information and kind of the details of that. I'll also jump onto the We Energies accounts online. If that is, an online platform that you are unfamiliar with, I'll just kind of show it to you so you have a little bit more familiarity. If you are owner of a building that has at least 4 tenants in it, and you have one of those, some utility account that reverts to you, you should be able to get that whole building aggregated energy use through We Energy's landlord tenant portal. So I would show that to you as well. And then I will also throw in the chat a link to kind of We Energy's free assistance with getting started benchmarking as well. And just, links to all of these resources are available at www.city.milwaukee.gov/benchmarking. So let me stop sharing and share. Okay, sorry. All right. So we can, are you seeing the Energy Star Portfolio Manager page right now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so this is kind of the opening view of the Energy Star Portfolio Manager. Again, for the city buildings, which we benchmark here in the Eco office. Um, and so you'll see if you have a number of buildings that you need to benchmark, you can create one account and then add those different buildings to that one account. So we'll just jump in here as an example. This is one of the parking garages. And the place that you will kind of initially enter your data about your building is going to be under this details tab. And of course, it's moving slowly today. Okay. This is where you will enter in the square footage, the property use type to the best of your ability. And then if you have the occupancy data, if you have more, you know, uh, detailed info on the occupancy of the building, you can add that. But if you don't, I think it's fine to defer just to 100% occupancy. Um, and then Claire will go over this later about adding in the different IDs. In terms of where you'll enter your energy use, you'll go to this energy tab and you will, if you're starting out here, you will add a meter. And then you can put whatever information is in here is helpful to you. I put in here, the source of the energy that it is. So electric, I just put in the account number so that it's ready and available so that, when I'm doing this next year, I have the account number right there and available. I can kind of easily go back and forth between this and We Energy site. Um, this additional stuff you don't need to put in there unless you really want to. This is more just like the meter number and things like that. Probably just the electric or the energy source is fine. And then I think I do recommend putting the account number in there because that can make things easier in the future. So then in here, and I'm just gonna kind of show you the kind of manual way to do it. There are ways that you can download your information from We Energy site and then upload it, upload all of the 2024 data at one time. Um, there are tutorials to do that on our benchmarking website. But I am just going to show you really quickly how just to add it basically month by month. Um, so you'll go in here and just add another entry and then just put in here kind of the energy usage data from your electricity bill and then also the cost as well. While, inserting the cost information is not actually required in our ordinance. I find it to be helpful, again, to be like tracking your energy use reductions over time as you kind of start on this benchmarking process. So you'll just add that in there, hit save bills, and then you should be all set. If you make a mistake or need to make a deletion, you can just do that, save your bills. And if you get this green bar across the front, then Energy Star Portfolio Manager is happy. If there's some error in there, this will come up as like yellow, and it will usually tell you what small change you need to make. So it will tell you if something is off or if you need to make a slight change. All right, so then jumping over to We Energy's site, let me see. If you have not created one, you will go into My Account and then sign up. This I will just sign in. All right, so then let me again, I'm just going to look at that account number from Energy Star so that I can easily find that info. And I maybe there are some building owners out there who have like 100 buildings to benchmark, like the city. Hopefully, it won't be, you won't need to pour through as many. But I'll just like the 00095, go here. Okay, so then this is the info I'm looking for. This is the particular building, that parking garage. And then you can view your bill history and set it, I think you can go as far back as 2 years on here, viewing in this view. And then you'll get this nice graph, and then you'll get the energy data that you're looking for right down here. And this is, kind of the if we're talking about electricity, it's going to be kilowatt hours data that you will add to Energy Star. And then again, if you want to be tracking those costs, you can just pull that info from right here and input it into Energy Star. One more thing I wanted to show you, again, for building owners that have at least 4 tenants, and have one bill reverting back to them, you should be able to, rather than asking your tenants for the energy data, you should be able to go right to this landlord tenant portal and then sign up and then be able to get the whole building energy data for that particular building. One kind of note that I wanted to mention is that when you are looking for the whole building data per month and you want to get kind of the entire electricity use or the entire gas use for a particular month, you will need to go into, and it's very small in here, my apologies, but you will want to go into this property usage history. And then it should give you kind of the aggregated electricity, gas, or maybe you have steam, should give you that aggregated use for each month of 2024, which is what needs to be reported for this upcoming period. Let's see. And then there was just one more thing which I will click on here just so I can grab that URL. But this is where We Energies does provide assistance to people who are new to the benchmarking or to benchmarking their energy use in their building. They can help you get set up with that, help guide you through Energy Star Portfolio Manager and all of that. And then if you are new to benchmarking, there is a program through Focus on Energy where you can actually get credit for benchmarking your energy use. You would need to start benchmarking the energy use for 2025 because I believe to qualify for that, $200 a month credit, you need to kind of enter that data within 30 days from the bill. And I believe you also need to be spending at least $15,000 in energy on that particular building. But that's something just to kind of look into. It's called Practical Energy Management. And there is a link to that program, again, on that city.milwaukee.gov/benchmarking URL, that webpage. So with that, I think I will turn it over to Claire. And I will throw this We Energies link in the chat as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Pam. As Pam mentioned, my name is Claire Rabbit. I'm with Clearly Energy. We're working with the city using our Beam tool to support the rollout of this benchmarking ordinance. If you'll just allow me a moment here, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, great. So for today, I'm just planning to walk you through a few resources available, as well as a quick tutorial on how to share your property with the city within Energy Star Portfolio Manager. But first, starting with this Milwaukee knowledge base. The city does have a knowledge base, and what that means is it's a comprehensive resource library, and it contains all information related to the Efficient Buildings Benchmarking Program. And within this knowledge base, you can find information on the policy, announcements and events, detailed compliance guidance, and other types of resources. It's also where you'll go to access the Clean My Building form and to fill out any other forms that you may need. So, for example, if you'd like to request an exemption or you have some sort of other building information that you need to update, you could find forms to make these changes here as well. And you can also submit a ticket to have any general questions that you have answered. You'll also have the option to set up a building owner portal account. The building owner portal is a web-based application platform, and what it does is it enables building owners to be able to view your compliance status of any submitted benchmarking reports, as well as detailed information on your building and its energy consumption data, as well as previous compliance data and any correspondence that you have had with the city related to the ordinance. To access the portal, first you'll need to register for an account, and I'll send the link to sign up in the chat shortly as well for that. But just to note, please do register with an email that we do have on file in association with your building. So that should be either the email you use to benchmark your building in Energy Star Portfolio Manager for a building that you've already shared with the city, or one of the emails that you provided when you claimed your building. Oh, my apologies. I thought I had already gotten forward to this page. The next thing that I'll be covering today is how to share your property with the city via Portfolio Manager. And I know that if anyone was on the previous webinar or has written in, we were awaiting that Milwaukee building ID field to be added in Portfolio Manager, but it is now available. And so I can show you how to get there now. Right, so I'll just be taking you on a quick tour of the knowledge base, the building owner portal, and show you how to share your buildings within Portfolio Manager. So the first page you can see here is the program knowledge base. And again, this is this comprehensive resource library to help you to comply with this ordinance. So as you can see, any important announcements will be posted here. So you may be familiar with this page, which lists webinars, and may have gone there to register for this one today. There's also detailed guidance on the policy, how to benchmark your buildings, and other resources that you may need. As mentioned, to create a new ticket, you would go to this left-hand side of your screen here where it says New Ticket, and you would find all of those available here. So specifically, the first step will be filling out a Clean My Building form. So as you can see, that is the second option here, and I would just select this form, fill it out, and I would submit. I also will mention I am currently logged in to a building owner portal account, but this knowledge base is completely publicly accessible. So even if you choose not to set up the building owner portal account, you will still be able to access the knowledge base and all of the tickets. So now I'm going to toggle over since I am logged in to this building owner portal account. And I'll start here within the inventory. So as you can see, my email is in association with both of these buildings, and so it will populate here when I create my account. I can do several things within the inventory. one thing that I can do is I can do various filtering techniques. If I do have a large portfolio, I could search by building ID or address, really any of these columns here. If I wanted to as well, I could sort, if I wanted to see smallest to largest gross floor area, all of those kinds of filters are available here. I can also see there's been no report submitted for these properties, but if there were, I would have several labels in this tab here, which I could filter to include or exclude. The other thing I'll note within this page is that if I click this little note tab here, I can view a record of any communication that I've had with the city. Or alternatively, as you can see, I don't have any record of communication for this specific property, but I could ask a general question through clicking this new ticket here. I can also click on building owner if I need to, or actually this would be your name, but I just have this as building owner. But if you need to update any of your personal information, you can do that here within this tab. If you'd like to add anyone else to the building owner portal, and they will be able to see your exact inventory if you do add them manually this way, I can go to this members tab and then click invite a new member. Once I've done that, I can enter their information. And then the one thing I will note here is that the role building viewer versus building owner, the essential difference there is that building viewers can view the inventory and the related information, but cannot invite other members the way I am doing here, but a building owner would be able to. Awesome. So with that, I can go ahead and take you over to Portfolio Manager and give you a quick tutorial on how to enter your Milwaukee property ID, connect with the city via Portfolio Manager, and how to share your property. So the first thing I'll do is I will go and click into this property here. And then to enter the Milwaukee building ID, I would go to the Details tab, scroll down to this Unique Identifiers section, and then I would click Edit. Under Standard ID City/Town, you can search to find the Milwaukee building ID. I'm just going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then click Save. And when you're on this Details tab, you'll be able to see your building ID listed there as well. So now that I've entered the Milwaukee benchmarking building ID, I can add the city of Milwaukee as a contact on Energy Star Portfolio Manager. So I would go to that contacts tab up top and I would click add new contacts/connections. The username is city of, oh, no, city of Milwaukee. And then I would just click search. And as you can see, I have already connected with the city via Portfolio Manager, but there would be a button here which you would be able to click. Now, once you've completed this step, you will receive an email letting you know that your connection request was accepted, and that's what will prompt you to go to the next step here. So now that I have entered my Milwaukee building ID, connected with the city, I could go to this sharing tab, and then I would click share or edit access to a property. I will select that property we were just looking at. And then I would scroll down here to select the city. And then I would select personalized sharing and exchange data. Next, I'll click continue and I'll select read-only access and then exchange data. And I'll select read only for each of these meter information fields. And then no for recognition, or sorry, none for recognition and no for share forward. I then can select apply selections and authorize exchange and then click share properties there. So I know that was several steps. I will be dropping a link to a sharing guide that we have developed, and we're also working on developing a sharing tutorial, which will cover these exact same steps that I just walked through today. And that will be made available very soon and posted in the knowledge base once it is. Then just a couple other things I wanted to cover. The first is building scorecards. And these are one of the benefits of benchmarking your buildings. So you're able to receive a snapshot that can help you to better understand your building's energy usage, and the insights that you're able to identify through these can help to enable you to make optional upgrades to both improve your energy efficiency and reduce utility bill costs if you do choose to do so. Now I think we are opening it up to the Q&A section. So please feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat and we will be sure to address those.
Claire, if you're able to address those first two questions, I would appreciate it. I'm less familiar with with using the campus designation.
Yeah, great question. So for a campus property, how you would enter the IDs for two buildings. So Portfolio Manager enables you to set up an umbrella and then have the individual buildings underneath that umbrella. So the first thing to know is that you would have a parent property, which is really the campus itself, and then the individual buildings would still be listed out as separate properties. And you would enter the Milwaukee building IDs under those individual separate properties there. And then I also will link in the chat here, we have a campus designation form. And you'll want to fill this out in addition to setting up your buildings as a campus within Portfolio Manager, as that will enable us to group those buildings together from our end internally. And then Phil, to address your question, I see you said, can you repeat how I can access the knowledge base? I'm going to drop the chat, or sorry, drop the link back in the chat again. It's just the link that I believe Jenna sent above.
The knowledge base is also accessible from the city.milwaukee.gov/benchmarking website as well. Right up at the top, there is a link, kind of the second paragraph at the top of that website. So if you ever need to get back to it or what have you, it is available um, there. Um,
And then
and
I see a couple questions here asking about resources. So asking if the recording will be made available and if the sharing tutorial that I mentioned would be included in the knowledge base. So yes to both of those questions. With this recording, you'll be receiving an email um, with this recording included, as well as it will be posted to the knowledge base, and the sharing tutorial will be posted to the knowledge base as well.
Um, I can address Ms. Harrell's question. For this year and what is required to be submitted by September 30th of this year is the 2024 energy data. And it would be, you know, electricity and gas, or maybe electricity and steam, or electricity, steam, and gas. It's, the energy that is being utilized in your building is what will need to be entered into the Energy Star portfolio manager. Um, and Ms. Soom, um, if you could send an inquiry into the Beam tool regarding mixed use, then we can kind of we can kind of guide you through that a little bit more, depending on your situation. Okay. Well, guess we don't want to take more time if, we're all wrapped up here, and there are no additional questions right now. We really hope that this webinar was helpful. Um, if you have feedback or things like that, please feel free to, again, submit that through the Beam platform, or is trying to, um, you know, provide what would be most helpful. And I think I did mention this last time. I know that I've mentioned it through the help desk. Um, I there are definitely companies and services out there that can help assist you with this benchmarking process, but I guess I would encourage you to try to exhaust the free resources that are available first, going through We Energy's kind of free consultation, reaching out to our help desk. The city, we are funding this help desk to be a good resource for everyone, so that hopefully we're not, creating additional expenses for you as a building owner. This is really a program for you to be kind of paying more attention to your energy use. And then, when, as Claire mentioned, when that scorecard goes out, we will be providing tips on how you can improve the energy efficiency in your building and bring those energy bills down, and also, access programs that are available when you do put more energy efficient equipment in your building, such as through Focus on Energy or through different programs. So that's really the intention here. So please reach out to us for help. Um, we're that is what we're here for. That's what Clearly Energy is here for, and they have tons of expertise, having worked with dozens of other jurisdictions throughout the country.
And I also just dropped in the chat 3 ways to reach us. So through our email, the general inquiry form on the help desk, or via a phone call. We'll be happy to assist you in any format that you prefer.
Great. I do want to mention, see if I can remember exactly when those additional webinars are. We do need to update our benchmarking page here with the additional dates of the webinars, but we have another webinar coming up in August. I believe it's August 21st. And then we will also have another one in September. And Claire and I were just discussing prior to this, as we get closer to, the deadline, we'll probably be having additional sessions, office hours, and things like that for you to, come stop in and, get those kind of maybe little detailed questions answered and things like that. So we are planning kind of more engagement and more events to help you as we get closer to that September 30th deadline. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for being here. And again, yeah, the recording will be made available and there's, the whole team of people here to help. So please feel free to reach out with any inquiry that you have.
Thank you so
Great.
much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.